What's up guys, JM here. Today we'll be covering Chapter 20 of Arc 5. Before we get into things, please don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss out on future chapter summaries and more ReZero content. Chapter 19 ended with Subaru returning by death for the first time in a year. Chapter 20 picks up from Subaru's new checkpoint right before he leaves the park to get some snacks for everyone. Subaru has somewhat recovered from his return by death trip. Amelia, who was very concerned for Subaru's health, asks him if he was feeling better. "Are you alright, Subaru? You don't look so good." Amelia, "Just now, did Lelina say she would sing another song?" Lelina pouts, then grabs Subaru's sleeves and begins shaking him. "Where do I even start? Lelina, was ignored to such a degree that this situation shocked and hurt my heart. Compensation. I demand compensation." Subaru shakes her off of him and continues to ignore Lelina. Amelia notices how serious Subaru was and answers his question. "Yes, Lelina said that she would sing us another song that we missed." Then Subaru and Lelina started quietly chatting about something. "That happened just now? I got it, thank you." "So, this means that I died." He was unable to say the word. But Natsuki Subaru had died once more to restart again. Subaru reflects on what happened in the plaza. Everyone there, including himself, was infected with the same madness. Nothing about that situation was normal, not to mention the way he died. Subaru wonders if there were explosives attached to the boy and they went off once he hit the ground. Before he could dwell on it anymore, he's brought back to reality by Amelia. "Are you really okay, Subaru?" Subaru realizes there are only 15 minutes before Sirius strikes again at the plaza. "You're kidding me." All the time Subaru had returned by death, never had the time between the save point and death been so close. Normally he had a couple of hours or days to figure out a solution. In 15 minutes, what could Subaru do by himself? If he wanted to live, he could just ignore Lelina's request for snacks and stay here. But everyone else in the plaza was going to die. No matter what, that poor child was doomed to die. "I have to stop it. Damn, I have to." That child Lustbel was looking forward to a newborn sibling and had taken his sweetheart's place on that tower. How could anyone be so shameless to only think of themselves and not attempt to rescue him? Bayako and I. Subaru hesitated to say go together. Beatrice was confused and stared at him. "And what, Subaru?" Subaru knew that bringing Beatrice with him would definitely increase his combat strength, but he can't leave Amelia alone. Especially when the witch cult was definitely in the city. Leaving Amelia alone gave him anxiety. Subaru recalls the times Betelgeuse came in contact with Amelia. That alone was enough to rule out taking Amelia with him. "Beatrice and I." "And what, Subaru?" "We'll eat the same dessert. Is that fine?" Beatrice was speechless. She knew that there was something wrong going off of Subaru's behavior. Subaru turns to Amelia and smiles. "I'll go on a short trip to buy some sweet snacks, then I'll be right back. Amelia, wait here and be good." "I got it, but don't you want me to come?" "That's fine. Believe in me. I'll protect you." Before Subaru leaves the park, he whispers to Beatrice. "Protect Amelia for me. If I need you, I'll call you immediately." "What did you encounter that you can't even tell Betty about?" "Just be well prepared." Subaru arrives at the plaza and begins scouting the area. He doesn't see any witch cult members in the crowd of people, so it's likely that Sirius is acting by herself. The question is what to do next. Once that speech begins, I could very well be forced to fall into that hazy state of mind again. Subaru considers telling the citizens to evacuate the area, but that wouldn't be efficient and Sirius probably wouldn't give her speech. In that case, the only way is to eliminate the culprit. Wasting time on these thoughts is useless. I'm the only one here now. As soon as the speech starts, I have to be ready to act. No, the solution is actually much simpler. Subaru runs over to the clock tower and walks inside quietly. Once Subaru's inside, he hears a child sobbing. "No need to cry so loudly. Are you a good boy? You must be a strong child. Daddy and mommy and your younger sibling too, they must be so proud of what a strong boy you are. You're such a good kid." Subaru begins walking up the steps. His heartbeat begins accelerating and his chest thudding with every step he takes. He prepared to call Beatrice at a moment's notice. Subaru puts his hand on his whip. His whip was a bullwhip, just like the one Indiana Jones uses in the movies. While he was being taught by Clint, Subaru quickly learned that whips had more range and were much harder to use compared to the movies. Subaru's reasoning for choosing the whip was simple. Unlike swords, hammers, spears, and bows, the whip was incredibly versatile. Most importantly, with weapons like the sword, Subaru's potential improvement in just a short few years was incredibly limited. That's why Subaru had chosen a whip, as he always relied on his smarts, trickery, and outsmarting his opponent. Subaru continues to climb the steps until he sees Sirius's figure in the shadows. She hadn't noticed him yet, which gave him the upper hand. Subaru took a half step forward and flung his arm upward. With a sharp whistle, the tail of the whip flew towards its target. However, Sirius had noticed him. Why are you so angry? Sirius swung her chain to deflect Subaru's attack. Although she was able to block the whip's attack, she hadn't realized it had grabbed onto her chains. Subaru drags her down onto the ground and then rams into her with his shoulder. Her body was much lighter than expected and she tumbled out of the clock tower's window. Subaru doesn't bother checking to see if Sirius is dead and rushes over to Lustbel. Are you okay, Lustbel? Subaru realizes that Sirius had forced Lustbel to hold the chain against his neck, only further angering him. Enough, you'll be fine. You'll never have to do such a thing again. Come with me. But if I don't follow the terms of our agreement, then Tina will. Subaru was moved by Lustbel's desire to protect his friend. His throat became choked with emotion and his legs were shaking. No, in this city, there are many reliable people. In front of Lustbel, whose eyes had become unfocused from fear, Subaru desperately beat his unresponsive legs and yelled. So, legs stopped shaking. Lustbel started spasming as he began to vomit. Subaru rushed over to help him until he felt that his own organs were being twisted inside of him. Subaru started vomiting as well and hears a voice behind him. Your fear is but proof of your gentleness. It was none other than Sirius. She begins going on a monologue about love. Meanwhile, Subaru and Lustbel begin drowning in their own vomit, unable to breathe. Please feel comfortable. Let me witness, feel, and let me witness your love, your endless tenderness, your virtue that bids you to save Lustbel. The last thought Subaru had was remembering how he promised to struggle and fight to the end so long ago. Even in the terrible trials of the sanctuary last year, why did he find it so sad and painful to survive? After the song ends and they chat again, shouldn't we prepare food and drinks for them? Indulging in some sweet snacks will certainly create a mood that will close the distance between them, don't you think so? Subaru collapses. Lilina doesn't move out of the way fast enough and ends up getting headbutted by Subaru. Subaru snaps out of it as he realizes he's returned by death once more and begins rubbing his forehead. What just? Amelia and Beatrice come over to Subaru to see if he's okay. What's wrong, Subaru? You suddenly headbutted Lilina. That's no good. If you don't like someone, you should resolve your differences by talking it out. That's right, in fact. Before resorting to violence, we should give that ugly girl a warning that we want to send her flying, I suppose. Lilina isn't too pleased and wonders if she's really so ugly. Damn, Lilina, I don't know, Beatrice might be onto something. Priscilla wasn't too pleased by Subaru's behavior and warns him not to harm Lilina again. Subaru nods at her and confirms his location. He then mutters to himself. Disgusting. A second reset hadn't changed his evaluation of that freak at all. And that sums up chapter 20 of Arc 5. Another great chapter and follow-up to the last one. We got to see Subaru's training under Clint come through here. He was able to do at least some damage to Sirius. The last time we saw Subaru, he was nowhere near as strong or capable as a fighter. He still can't take on major threats like Fanart bishops, but he's no longer a sitting duck. All of his progress so far has been earned by learning through trial and error. I'm really glad that Tappei is sticking to this instead of making Subaru overpowered at some point to solve his issues. It really hammers in the lesson Subaru learned in Arc 4. It's okay to rely on others for help and share the burden. Although Subaru tried handling Sirius on his own, I hope he remembered Otto's words when he died, as Sirius is not someone he can compete against. So far, the first loop of Arc 5 has been great. The first death was eerie and unsettling. We still don't know what Sirius did to kill everyone in the plaza, but this second death was cruel and gruesome. Subaru choked on his own vomit and died. I never considered that to be a potential death for Subaru in this series. Leave it to Tappei to always have something up his sleeve. I wonder what Subaru will do differently this time to stop Sirius. Maybe he'll take Beatrice and Amelia with him, or he could ask Larkins to summon Reinhardt to take on Sirius. I think it's more likely that he'll ask Beatrice to come with him, although I don't know how much she'll be able to help. Beatrice lost to Elsa in one of the loops in Arc 4. I think Sirius is leagues stronger than Elsa. I think asking Reinhardt for help is the best option personally, but we'll have to wait and see in the next chapter. Let me know if you guys have any theories, predictions, or thoughts about the chapter or going forward in the comment section down below. I'll be reading all of the comments, then responding to and discussing 3 to 5 comments in the next video. Now to get into 4 comments of the last video. The first one comes in from IMM3. They wrote, Sirius is one of my favorite witch cultists. She's not quite sane, but she's not insane either. She's almost in her own world, probably not realizing what she's doing is bad because of her authority. Also, poor Subaru, he doesn't deserve this, even if he cheered as someone threw a little kid off of a building, Lamau. I don't know where I rank Sirius yet in terms of the witch cultists, but hopefully after rereading Arc 5, I'll have a better idea where she ranks. Also, yeah, rip Subaru, hopefully he doesn't die too much. The second comment comes in from AnimeFan1234. They wrote, Subaru's 1-year vacation is over. Yep, he rested for long enough. Hopefully he doesn't suffer too much in this arc. The third comment comes in from Andre. They wrote, at first I thought the Sin Archbishop of Wrath might actually have good intentions, since she wanted to chat, kept apologizing, and was overall polite. Boy was I wrong, she had us in the first half, not gonna lie. She really did have us in the first half, but yeah, all the Fanart bishops are terrible people. The final comment comes in from Steerman100. They wrote, "What the hell, this chapter was meta as hell. Subaru dies, so that means the plot of the anime continues. Would it really be a ReZero arc without Subaru dying?" But yeah, the last chapter was insane. With that being said, thank you so much for the support as always. If you don't want to miss out on future Arc 5 summaries and more ReZero content, please consider subscribing and hitting the bell. Thank you for watching, and I hope you all have a great day.